Have you ever been so close to your dream that you could almost touch it, only to feel like giving up? Maybe you've invested years into something, a business, a relationship, a goal, and now you're exhausted, wondering if it was all a waste. Maybe you look at how far you've come, and instead of feeling proud, you just feel tired. You tell yourself, what's the point? Maybe I'm not meant for this. But what if I told you that the moment you want to quit is often the moment right before your breakthrough? What if one woman's story could prove that your purpose is waiting on the other side of your exhaustion? This is the story of a woman who lost everything, including her reason to keep going, until she remembered why she started. Stay with me until the end, because this might be the reminder you need to keep pushing. In a bustling city where ambition and failure live side by side, there was a 8-year-old woman named Elena. Elena had once been full of dreams. 7 years ago, she had quit her stable corporate job to open a small bakery specializing in traditional pastries from her grandmother's recipes. The bakery was her heart made visible. Every loaf of bread, every pastry carried memories of her grandmother's kitchen, of Sunday mornings filled with warmth and laughter. For the first 3 years, things were hard but hopeful. She worked 6-hour days, kneading dough at 4 a.m., serving customers until 8 p.m. Her hands were covered in burns from the oven. Her back ached constantly. But she didn't mind because she was building something meaningful. Then the pandemic hit. Her small bakery, which relied on foot traffic and regular customers, lost 80% of its business overnight. She took out loans to survive. She laid off her 2 employees, people who had become like family. She worked alone, desperate to keep the doors open. Now, 7 years after she started, Elena was drowning. The bakery was still open, but barely. Most days, she had more unsold bread than customers. Her savings were gone. Her apartment was filled with unopened bills she couldn't pay. Her marriage had crumbled under the financial stress her husband had left 6 months ago, telling her, "You care more about that bakery than about us." Every morning at 4 a.m., when her alarm went off, Elena would lie in bed staring at the ceiling, feeling something worse than poverty. She felt pointless. She would drag herself to the bakery, going through the motions, mixing, baking, waiting for customers who might not come. The smell of fresh bread, which once filled her with joy, now just reminded her of everything she had sacrificed for nothing. Her mother would call from the countryside, worry heavy in her voice. "Elena, my daughter, maybe it's time to let go. You've tried. No one can say you didn't try. Come home, rest." Elena would force strength into her voice. "Mama, I'm fine. The bakery is fine. Don't worry." But she wasn't fine. She was dying inside, one unsold loaf at a time. The truth that haunted her most was this: she wasn't afraid of failure anymore. She was afraid that she had wasted 7 years of her life on something that didn't matter. That her grandmother's recipes, her dreams, her sacrifices, all of it meant nothing. And every night, as she locked the bakery door and walked home through the empty streets, one thought grew louder: maybe it's time to quit. One cold Thursday evening in late November, Elena stayed late at the bakery to finish inventory. It was 9 p.m. The street outside was dark and quiet. She sat at one of the small tables, surrounded by the day's unsold bread, 12 loaves that would go stale by morning. She put her head in her hands, and for the first time in 7 years, she cried. Not quiet tears, but deep, shaking sobs that came from a place she had kept locked away. "I can't do this anymore," she whispered to the empty room. "I've given everything. I have nothing left." Her phone rang. It was her landlord. "Elena, the rent is 3 months overdue. I've been patient, but I need to know, are you closing the bakery or not? I have other people interested in the space." She looked around the bakery, the ovens her grandmother would have loved, the small chalkboard menu she had written in careful handwriting, the corner table where her first regular customer used to sit every morning. "I need 1 week, she heard herself say. 1 week to decide. After she hung up, she sat in silence. She didn't know why she had asked for a week. She already knew the answer. It was over. She locked up and started walking home. But instead of her usual route, her feet took her somewhere else, to the cemetery where her grandmother was buried. It was nearly 10 p.m., far too late for a visit, but she needed to be there. She sat on the cold ground beside the headstone. "Abuela," she whispered, "I tried. I really tried to honor you, to keep your recipes alive. But I'm so tired. I don't know if I can keep going." The wind moved through the trees. The city hummed in the distance. And in that quiet moment, Elena remembered something she had forgotten. She was 7 years old, standing in her grandmother's kitchen. Her grandmother was teaching her to make pan dulce. Little Elena had tried 3 times and failed each time. The dough wouldn't rise. "Abuela, I can't do it," she had cried, frustrated. Her grandmother had knelt down, flour on her hands, and looked into her eyes. "Mi amor, do you know why we bake bread? To eat? No, my child, we bake bread to feed people's souls, not just their stomachs. When someone is sad, when they are alone, when they have forgotten what home feels like, our bread reminds them. That is our purpose. And purpose is not easy. It requires everything from us, but it gives back something more valuable than money. It gives meaning." Her grandmother had smiled. "So when you want to quit, remember this: you don't bake for yourself. You bake for the person who needs to remember they are loved." Sitting in the cemetery, Elena felt something crack open inside her chest. Not with sadness, with clarity. She stood up. "I remember now, Abuela. I remember why I started." On her walk home, something happened that would change everything. She passed a 2-4-hour hospital. Outside, sitting on a bench, was a young doctor still in scrubs, her head in her hands, looking utterly defeated. Elena stopped. She didn't know why. She just stopped. "Are you okay?" Elena asked gently. The young doctor looked up, eyes red. "I lost a patient tonight, a child. I did everything right, but it wasn't enough. And I keep thinking, maybe I'm not meant to be a doctor. Maybe I should quit." Elena's heart broke open. She sat down beside her. "Can I tell you something?" The doctor nodded. 7 years ago, I opened a bakery to honor my grandmother. Tonight, I was planning to close it. I was planning to quit because I'm broke, exhausted, and I thought it didn't matter. But then I remembered what my grandmother taught me: we don't do our work for ourselves. We do it for the person who needs it. She looked at the young doctor. "You lost a patient tonight, and it hurts because you care. But think of all the patients you saved. Think of the families who still have their loved ones because you didn't give up during your training, during your exams, during the hard shifts. You're not meant to quit. You're meant to keep going because someone's life depends on you being there tomorrow." The doctor's eyes filled with tears. "How do you keep going when it hurts this much? You remember your purpose, not success, not money, not recognition. Your purpose, why you started." They sat in silence for a moment. Then the doctor said, "Thank you. I needed to hear that. What's your bakery called? I want to visit," Elena told her. The doctor smiled. "My grandmother used to make bread too. I'll come by tomorrow before my shift." As Elena walked away, something shifted inside her. She realized she had just saved someone from quitting, and in doing so, she had saved herself. The next morning, Elena's alarm went off at 4 a.m. For the first time in months, she didn't feel resentment. She felt purpose. She went to the bakery and began to bake. Not because she had to, because she remembered why it mattered. At 6:30 a.m., the young doctor walked in. She ordered coffee and pan dulce. As she ate, tears rolled down her face. "This tastes exactly like my grandmother's. Thank you." She left a generous tip and a note. "Thank you for reminding me why I became a doctor. You saved me last night." Elena put the note on her wall, and she made a decision. She wasn't going to quit. Not because business was good, because her purpose was clear. She started doing things differently. Instead of focusing on profit, she focused on connection. She started a pay-what-you-can basket for people who couldn't afford bread. She began offering free baking classes on Sundays for children who wanted to learn. Word spread slowly. A local newspaper wrote a story about the bakery with a heart. A food blogger visited and wrote about the authentic recipes and the woman who refused to quit. Customers started coming not just for bread, but for the feeling the bakery gave them. People would sit at the small tables and tell Elena their problems. She would listen and offer them bread, still warm from the oven. One regular customer, an elderly man named Mr. Vasquez, came every Wednesday. One day he asked, "Elena, why do you do this? You could make more money elsewhere." She smiled. "Because this is my purpose. I'm not here to get rich. I'm here to remind people what home feels like." 3 months later, a local businessman came into the bakery. He had read the newspaper article. "Elena, I want to invest in your bakery, not to change it, but to help you expand, keep the same heart, but reach more people. Would you be interested?" Elena stood there, speechless. 3 months ago, she was planning to close. Now, someone wanted to invest. Why? She managed to ask. Because the world needs more businesses driven by purpose, not just profit. And your purpose is clear. 1 year later, Elena had opened a second location. She had paid off her debts. She had hired back her former employees and trained 5 apprentices. Her grandmother's recipes were feeding hundreds of people every day. But more importantly, she had reconnected with her purpose. Every morning at 4 a.m., when she woke up to bake, she didn't feel burdened. She felt alive. People would ask, "Elena, what made you keep going when you wanted to quit?" She would smile and say, "I remembered that I didn't start this for success. I started it to honor my grandmother and to give people a taste of home. Once I reconnected with that purpose, quitting was no longer an option." My friend, Elena's story is proof of something powerful. The moment you want to quit is often the moment right before everything changes. Not because circumstances magically improve, because you reconnect with your purpose. Here's what most people don't understand. Exhaustion is not a sign that you should quit. It's a sign that you've forgotten why you started. When you feel like giving up, you're not at the end of your journey. You're at the point where you need to remember your purpose. Think about it. You've already invested so much time, money, tears, sleepless nights. You've already survived the hardest parts. You've already proven you're stronger than you think. And now, when you're closer than you've ever been, you want to quit? That's not wisdom. That's fear. Fear that all your sacrifice was for nothing. But here's the truth. Sacrifice is never wasted when it's connected to purpose. So here's your challenge. The same challenge Elena faced in that cemetery. Asterisk. Step 1. Remember why you started. Asterisk. Not why you wanted success. Not why you wanted money or recognition. Why you started. What problem were you trying to solve? Who were you trying to help? What meaning were you trying to create? Write it down tonight. Put it somewhere you'll see it every morning. Asterisk. Step 2. Shift from outcome to purpose. Asterisk. Stop measuring your worth by how much you've achieved. Start measuring it by whether you're staying true to your purpose. Elena's bakery was failing by business standards, but succeeding by purpose standards, she was feeding people's souls. Are you doing your purpose, even if the results aren't here yet? Asterisk. Step 3. Find one person your work has impacted. Asterisk. One person. Not 100, not 1,000. 1. Elena met that young doctor, and it changed everything. Your work matters more than you know. Find evidence of your impact. A thank you note, a testimonial, a moment someone told you that you helped them. Let that fuel you. I promise you this. If you reconnect with your purpose and give it 6 more months, just 6 months, your life will not look the same. Maybe you won't be rich. Maybe you won't be famous. But you will be clear. You will be aligned. And you will be unstoppable. Elena had every reason to quit. Debt, divorce, failure, exhaustion. But she had one reason to keep going. Purpose. And that one reason was stronger than 1,000 excuses. You have come too far to quit. Think about it. Think about the version of you from years ago who dreamed of being where you are now. That person would be so proud that you made it this far. Don't abandon them now. The finish line is closer than you think. But you'll never see it if you turn around. If you're ready to reconnect with your purpose and keep going, hit that like button right now as your commitment. Then drop a comment telling me, what is your purpose? Why did you start? Let's remind each other why we're fighting. Share this video with someone who's thinking about quitting. Maybe Elena's story is exactly what they need to hear today. And subscribe to this channel because every week I bring you stories of people who refuse to give up and the exact mindset shifts that save them. Remember Elena's words. I didn't start this for success. I started it for purpose. And once I reconnected with that, quitting was no longer an option. Your purpose is still waiting for you. Don't quit now. You've come too far. The world needs what only you can give. Don't let exhaustion steal that from us. Keep going. Your breakthrough is closer than you think.